This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Hello and welcome to the Circuit of Zandvoort for round 4 of the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. It's the Dutch DTM weekend on the circuit laid out by the North Sea coast. High temperatures, 25 degrees, but a strong sea breeze. Perfect weather for the beach, but a challenge for the drivers, the cars and the tyres, with the track temperature up to 45 degrees. We'll take a look at 4 special races, with the GTs of the Supercar Challenge joining the GT and Prototype Challenge. Fastest in GT and Prototype Challenge and first pole for Tim Gray and Alan Berg after a troublesome weekend at Zolder.
The advantage our car has is in maybe braking, but also in the tighter corners. The high-speed corners, it's very good as well. We'll struggle on the start because the Ginetta is so powerful and the other LMP3 car. So we're just going to have to see what happens when we get into turn 1 and then need to try and get back in the lead before the end of the lap and then see how it goes from there.
There's also a first pole position in GT for Dan Meyer, though it was his new teammate for the weekend, pro driver Jaap van Lagen, who set the time. Dan Meyer does race 1 on his own. Van Lagen will join in for race 2. Hoping for a good result, especially for tomorrow. Well, today of course, but tomorrow it'd be great to win with Jaap van Lagen. To me, he's Mr. Porsche. After a tough weekend in Zolder, including an engine fire, Dan Meyer's down to 10th in the championship, but the points leaders are on the row behind him. Second in the standings, Varsluis and Bas Schouten. They won both races at Zolder, didn't finish either at Zandvoort last time out. Michael Verhagen, the points leader with William Meyer. He's got a bit of a communication problem, it would seem. Formation lap for the first race, Tim Gray and Jean-Pierre Leclerc, the black car. Then Matthias Becker, Rob Campus. But there's trouble for Michael Verhagen. Look from the onboard, you can see the car locking up on the formation lap. Looks like an ABS issue. Lights go off and away we go. The charge down to the first corner begins. The Ginetta using its power to pull in front of Tim Gray. 3 wide behind in the GT class. White Porsche, Jean de Wilde on the outside. Contact between the BMWs, and that's Verhagen. Hits de Wilde off into the gravel. And that is going to require the safety car. Jean de Wilde is thoroughly stranded. Well, let's take a look from Michael Verhagen's viewpoint. There's de Wilde around the outside. On the brakes already. Contact with Bas Schouten. Just can't get the car stopped. And hits Jean de Wilde. Watch Verhagen again, 3 rows back. He hits the Wolf prototype after hitting Bas Schouten. And poor de Wilde has nowhere to go when he gets clattered. Released from behind the safety car. Here's the 3-way battle for the lead in GT. Koen Wouters going around the outside of Dan Meyer's white and green car. No Chris Wouters this weekend. Bas Schouten third. Behind them is the Wolf, that's Rob Campus, and then the black and orange Porsche Bob Herber fourth in GT. And down the inside, Bas Schouten just about hangs on. We'll take a look again as he has a little lunge down the inside. Knows there's going to be contact and squeezes over the curbs. But gravel on the tyres means a handful of corrective lock. GT points leader out of the race after just 2 laps because the damage incurred in the first corner with that ABS failure. His radio wasn't working, so he couldn't ask the team what was going on either. Tim Gray leading the prototypes in the CN class Praga R1 Turbo, the blue car. Jean-Pierre Leclerc with a real battle on his hands with Matthias Becker. These are LMP3 cars, the Ginetta just ahead of the Ligier. GT lead battle. Out front still Dan Meyer, but under pressure. Koen Wouters on the inside, gets a good run going. Through comes Bas Schouten in the BMW M4 Silhouette. He's going a long way round the outside. So Dan Meyer down to 3rd place. Koen Wouters driving on his own this weekend in the race lead, but really under pressure from Bas Schouten in the BMW. Schouten goes through. While they're dropping Dan Meyer, looks like he was holding up the leaders. Bas Schouten ahead of Koen Wouters. There's Meyer coming in from behind. Supercar with the yellow highlights. Dive bombs Bob Herber for 4th in the GT class. Good move from the Turkish driver, and he adds to that as there's trouble in front. Dan Meyer loops it around. Supercar goes through. Bob Herber has to take to the gravel trap to avoid contact. Herbert under pressure then from John de Wilde, who did get out of the gravel at the first corner, joined the safety car queue. He's working his way through, takes 5th in GT. Well, let's take a look again as Dan Meyer just gets in a little too hot, loses the tail of his Porsche. Supercar goes one way, Bob Herbert goes the other to try and avoid contact. But he has to straight line the Porsche through the gravel, and just look at the muck on those hot, sticky slicks. That means he'll have no grip for the next lap, and John de Wilde closes right in. GT class leader Bas Schouten racing away out front, no dramas at all with his BMW M4 Silhouette. And JR Motorsport busy repairing the other one for race 2. On board with Koen in second place. Racing solo this weekend, but trouble in Skyflak. High speed lose and off into the gravel. Well, that's a real shame for the man who was the fastest of the Porsches. It was all going really well, managed to keep the BMW behind for a couple of laps. Then the tyre exploded, or maybe a slow puncture, I don't know. The onboard shows, I think it was a puncture. Up to Skyflak, nothing felt wrong. I had plenty of grip, and then suddenly there was nothing. Tough break too for fellow Belgians Wim Moilders and Rick Remmens. 5th retirement in 7 starts. The safety car scrambled. Bas Schouten, the race leader, comes into the pits. Vaardslijs takes over with 30 result seconds. There's no rush. Safety car is out. Away he goes, but the red lights are on at the pit exit. He goes through them anyway. Bas Schouten feeling the pace after trying to negate that 30-second penalty in the first stint. A late pit stop under the safety car brings them back to the front of the GT pack. Dan Meyer in front is a lap down, but clearly isn't aware because he's been defending hard, even brake tests Vaardslijs. That's in the middle of Skyflak where he went off last year in contact with the JR Motorsport BMW. Vaardslijs has to keep pushing on. Dan Meyer struggling for grip there. Vaardslijs around the outside, there's a little bit of contact. And he slides out wide. And that's him stuck on the grass. Bas Schouten and the team can't believe it. They finish 7th by the time they get going. They could have taken the points lead though, but they're now down to 5th in the standings. Victory goes to Turkish driver Supercar. After 2nd in Zandvoort last time out, he takes the win from Bob Herbert and John de Wilde, with veteran Koolreuser a fine 4th place in his 999th race.
Well, we are always good on Zandvoort track, so I love this track a lot. So we hope to be around podium, but tomorrow I will have some additional penalties because of the win today, so we will see tomorrow.
4th place, a fine result for veteran Dutchman Koolreuser. Here's Marcus Mantis wearing a special celebratory livery. Alan Berg and Tim Gray had a nightmare in Zolder with a DNF and a crash, but they win race 1 in Zandvoort by 12.7 seconds. The perfect bounce back.
Yeah, fantastic weekend until now, and yeah, I pushed at the beginning, and when I did see that nobody did follow me, so I said, okay, make a very safe pace and bring it home, and yeah, we did it, so it's amazing.
Rob Campus, 2nd in the CN class in his Wolf, joined them on the class podium. An exhausted Jean-Pierre Lecoeur brought the Ginetta into the pit stops as the LMP3 class leader after pressure from Matthias Bakker all the way through. Post-pit stops, Bakker's teammate Javier Ibrahim Pardo had a 10-second advantage, but Jean-Marc Ubereken in the Ginetta ran him down, caught him and passed him to claim win number 5 of the season, a 100% winning record.
Yes, but our main problem was actually that the assisted steering didn't work. So on the fast curves, we just had to turn the steering wheel in the right position and then hope that it would not go over the limit because we were unable to turn it afterwards.
The Ginetta drivers now have a 13-point championship advantage. After warning for the stewards about his driving the previous day, Dan Meyer burying the hatchet, making amends with Bas Schouten and Vaardslijs before Sunday's 2nd race. Beautiful sunny conditions, and once again it's the Praga R1 Turbo that sits on pole position. This time it's Luxembourg's Alan Berg who will do the start, Tim Gray taking over midway through. On the outside of the front row, the car that ran them close, Jean-Pierre Lecoeur, Jean-Marc Uberecken will do the second stint in the Ginetta LMP3 car. Their LMP3 rivals, Matthias Bakker, again starting from pole position. And alongside Rob Campos, enjoying the Wolf CN class car on his own this weekend. Fifth on the grid, Kelvin Snooks, breaking every Praga R1 track record in his diminutive machine. GT pole sitter is Dan Meyer, currently lying 6th in the standings. And it's just as well he's made peace with Vard Slice and Bas Schouten, because the pair who are just ahead of him in the points are right behind him on the grid. Bas Schouten again starting race 2. Championship leaders, Micah Verhagen and Willem Meyer. This time it's Meyer who starts. He didn't even get to race yesterday, so at least he'll do some laps today, hopefully. Behind them on the grid, Koen Wouters. Conan Chris down in 7th place in the championship, only 4 points behind Dan Meyer. No Chris this weekend. Starting from the pit lane because he was too late to make the grid because he was on the beach, John de Vilder. Bob Herber on the grid alongside Cenk Cesikar, the race 1 winner. He's now 2nd in the championship, a point ahead of Herber. And then this man, Cor Oyster, the 60-year-old veteran, celebrating his 1000th race start. Astonishing. He is still such an enthusiast. Rolling round towards the start. A gap on the row in front of us on the left, where Jean de Vilder would be if he hadn't been sunbathing this morning. Lights off and away we go. Alain Berg on the left, Jean-Pierre Lecoeur's black car on the right, the Ginetta with a big engine, streaking into the lead from Matthias Bakker. Down the right-hand side, Koen Wouters goes by the Praga R1, but Kelvin Snooks brakes very late, makes up 2 rows as he comes back in. GT leader Willem Meyer in the M4 already ahead of the prototypes of Rob Campos and Kelvin Snooks. And now it's a BMW 1-2 as Bas Schouten goes by Dan Meyer for 2nd. Ahead of us, the battle for 4th, Wim Moilders with the white rear ends and their red, white and blue. And that is Koen Wouters. Moilders, spins up and into the barriers on the exit of Hugenholtz. Well, nobody else involved, but the safety car out to rescue him. We'll take a look from above. Wim Moilders, just a little bit of curb, tries to avoid the car in front. Can't avoid the barriers. That's a big impact too. Well, that's their 6th DNF in 8 starts this season. They're not having much luck. They ended up in the gravel trap twice in Zolder last time out. A 5th DNF for Koen Wouters as well, and that's pretty much where he retired from race 1 here back in May. GT lead battle, it's the M4 silhouettes. Willem Meyer ahead of Bas Schouten. Dan Meyer 3rd, the best of the Porsches from Bob Herber. And John de Vilder, who started from the pit lane. Bas Schouten lunges down the inside. Both JR Motorsport prototypes now up to full speed with communications and brakes re-established. He goes through into the lead. Replay here. Willem Meyer leaving the door open just a fraction too much, and Schouten straight lining to go straight through with Kelvin Snooks right behind. Battle of the Porsches. Dan Meyer ahead of Bob Herber. And the white car of Jean de Vilder right there. Fresh from the beach. On board with de Vilder, Bob Herber looking at the inside and drifting out a little wide. Willem Meyer as they go through Tarzan. So this is for 3rd in the GT category. Cor Oyster behind them in the venerable Marcus Mantis. And Willem Meyer defending hard, going around the outside. Bob Herber. Will it be 3 wide? Herber loses grip, loses the spot, drops down into 5th position in the GT class. Cor Oyster right there in the gold Marcus Mantis in what is his 1000th race start, including Formula 3000, FIA GT Championship, loads of single-seater races when he was a little younger, and even an IndyCar race. Battle for 3rd place. This time Jean de Vilder doesn't quite squeeze through, but he's all over. Dan Meyer looking down the inside again. Oh, and a late lunge. Through he goes. Can he hold it together? Yes, he can. And trouble for Meyer, trying to hold off Bob Herber as well. With Meyer. Oh, and there's contact from Herber. Jaap van Lagen there, due to take over from Dan Meyer. Will the car be damaged? Meyer in the middle of this sandwich, trying to avoid John de Vilder. Gets tagged by Bob Herber instead. When they come in for the mandatory stops, Jaap van Lagen takes over from Dan Meyer, but they lose more time. It needs attention to damage suspension. They send Van Lagen out to try and get to 75% race distance to get some points. Teammate Bob Herbert is also in, and that car will need attention. It's mainly cosmetic damage, and that means that Koroisa moves up to 4th place, and he too in trouble, goes off and sky flak, manages to get back on track. Lead and LMP3 battle, Jean-Pierre Leclerc in the Ginetta ahead of Matthias Bakker. The Ginetta boasting a 580 horsepower V8, the Ligier 420. And the LMP3 cars with plenty of downforce. And for the first time this season, Matthias Bakker gets by the Ginetta, takes the lead, and that is a major milestone for Bakker.
Het was heftig.
Really intense, gave it everything I could to get by. First had to get by the Praga and then had to hunt him down. Had to be really careful because he was defending well. The only thing that works is to just make him tired. In the end, he was too tired to defend. He decided to let me go by, and from then on it was pretty easy. I was much quicker, but it didn't mean that the pass was easy. On this track, it's very hard. Same story in race 1, Javier Ibrahim Pardo having to deal with Jean-Marc Ubereken, this time with equal maximum result seconds, and Ubereken goes back in front in the big black Ginetta. But not for long. After the pit stops, Tim Gray is in the Praga R1 Turbo. He hunts down the Ginetta, and with lap times half a second quicker than the black car, squeezes by to grab the lead. Villemeyer watching the screens. His teammate Michael Verhagen closing down Vard Slice. They benefited from having 10 fewer result seconds than Bas Schouten and Vard Slice in the pit lane. And as the race develops, they are right there in the battle for the lead. Down into the last couple of corners, Verhagen all over the back of Vard Slice. He sees an opportunity, starting to squeeze through on the inside of Arie Luyendyk and into the lead as they hit the long front straight. Championship leaders back on top once more here at Zandvoort. Late race drama for Supercar. The car gets away from him over the crest, and it's a series of high-speed impacts. Well, unfortunately, the car very badly damaged. Safety car comes out, and then the red flags. Supercar is okay, but the car very second-hand. Lots of fluid on the circuit as well. A disappointing end to the race. Nobody gets to do the complete race distance. Good news is that Supercar is A-OK. And as the race is stopped, Michael Verhagen and Villemeyer are our race leaders. They retained their points lead after race 1's disaster, extend it after race 2.
Ja, ik zag dat Wart toch wel redelijk...
I saw Vard was getting nervous in front of me, says Michael. He started making little errors, so I took advantage. I made no mistakes, managed to keep up a steady pace, keep it clean. Waited for the right moment, managed to get by him without too many problems. So, first place and excellent results as far as the championship is concerned. Victory then for Michael Verhagen, Villemeyer, Vard Slice and Bas Schouten in second, and Koroisa on the podium in his 1000th race in his trusty Marcus Mantis. Points for 10th for Dan Meyer after a trying weekend. The BMW drivers put the veteran Koroisa on the top step of the podium to celebrate his magic milestone, and they are first and second in the championship. Supercar with a great Zandvoort weekend moves up to third ahead of John de Wilde and Bob Herbert. Dan Meyer in 6th place. Jean-Pierre Leclerc, Jean-Marc Ubereken keep their 100% winning record alive in LMP3 in the Ginetta, now 15 points ahead of their Ligier rivals. Kelvin Snooks dropped out of race 1 with a broken drive shaft, but beat all the GT cars to take 4th place overall in race 2. Another spectacular performance. Former Super GT champion Kelvin Snooks would like to see better results still. I just missed out on a 1 minute 42 lap, a real shame because that's what I set the goal as. Track's got less grip than in race 1 though. Balance of the car wasn't quite as good, but no problem, still happy. Overall race winners again, Alan Berg and Tim Gray having the best weekend for VR racing so far. Bob Campus second in CN, Alistair Bolton second in SR3. Well, that's it for the GTs and prototypes. Next up, the touring cars of the Super Sport and Sport divisions. Plenty more action still to come. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Welcome back to the Circuit of Zandvoort. It's round 4 of the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook, and races 7 and 8 for the touring cars in Supersport 1 and 2 and the Sport divisions. The DTM weekend marks the second trip to Zandvoort this season, again sunny and dry, and at the top of the championship the battles are so class that failure is not an option. Pole position in the sport class for the first race is Clio driver Rob Neiman, his 6th pole. He lies second in the title race. Supersport 2 pole sitter Nicolas Delonc in the Peugeot 308 Cup. It's a first pole from the Belgian, who lies second in the standings.
Ouais, en fait, à la dernière course de Zandvoort.
In the jumbo race weekend at Zandvoort, my best lap times are around 1:53. Today I'm doing 1:51s and 1:52s. So we found a good setup with the car this time. It's the first year we've run this car. We're really getting a lot out of it in every race, and I'm improving as well. Nicolas lies 62 points behind points leaders Patrick de Frede and Roger Deleu with their BMW M3 because he didn't start or didn't finish in 3 of the 6 races so far. Dennis de Borst and Stan van Oort, second in Supersport 1, had the fastest lap, but that was cancelled, so pole and the extra point doubles the advantage of the series leader René Steenmetz. I think my colleagues in the Seat are a bit quicker than me. I'm going to have to try and stay in front of them as long as possible and then cling on. Let's see if we can strike again later in the race. That's the plan anyway. After reviewing additional video footage, Race Control admitted they were wrong, but they couldn't change the result. So despite being on pole on the grid, they'll have to swap places before the start of the race. And they do. The Seat starting on the outside of the grid. Dennis de Borst and Stan van Oort with a tiny advantage now over René Steenmetz. Marcel van der Maat and Per de Schroers in the orange BMW, they lie third in the standings. But it is Dennis de Borst and the Seat Leon with René Steenmetz alongside in his Cupra. Then on row 2, Ruud Ollie's BMW ahead of the BMW E90 of Robert Vandenberg. On board with Per de Schroers third in the standings. They start on row 4 of the grid. So with Dennis de Borst on the left and René Steenmetz on the right, Ruud Ollie trying to make room for himself goes through the gap in his 4-litre M3 GTR. He's got the inside line down into the first corner, but the Seat is still there. Around the outside goes Dennis de Borst and he holds on to the lead. So second is Ruud Ollie behind de Borst. Third, the all-white BMW. That's Fred Kavanagh. In 4th place, René Steenmetz just trying to hold on from Benjamin Vandenberg. Vandenberg on our left now as Per de Schroers tries to go the long way around the outside in Hugenholz. Vandenberg got squeezed up against the curbs. He's being squeezed as well by Max Vales. Vales to red, white and blue. Looks like Vandenberg is getting back in front. He does. Schroers did not get by for 4th place though. So René Steenmetz still in 4th position. There he is. There's Schroers in the orange car. On board with Per de Schroers, René Steenmetz in front. Schroers trying to use the power of the BMW. He's going to have to lunge down the inside here. And through he goes. And then the Seats side by side with Benjamin Vandenberg in the white BMW. Behind them the black Audi, that's Floris Dulaert and Priscilla Spellman in the little white Lotus. Vandenberg having another lunge down the inside of Max Vales, and that's very close indeed. Vales gave him the racing room though. No point having contact in the opening lap. Lose a battle, try and win the war. There's the all-white car of Fred Kavanagh under pressure now from Per de Schroers. Schroers in 3rd place in the championship, doesn't want the 2 leaders, the 2 Seats that are ahead of him in the points to get away. Ooh, he squeezes through. Trying to make his way through, and he does, safely up into 4th place. Ruud Ollie will be his next target. A spin on the opening lap for Ronald van Loon. The sequential gearbox dropped out of 4th and into neutral. He rejoins at the back. No such luck for John van der Voort. Alternator failure means the Alpha is out of the race. Rob Neiman leading sport from Henk Teppel in her 2-litre Silhouette. A battle that continues all the way through to the pit stops. But the safety car is scrambled for this big crash for Pascal Elert in his 2-litre Renault. Takes a long time to repair the guardrails. Safety car stays out through the pit stop window. Window opening at the 25th minute of the race. So any lead advantage is gone. Bad luck for Dennis de Boerst and Stan van Oord. Good news though for Robert and Benjamin van den Berg. No result seconds. Neither have Max Vels and Jackie van der Ende or Ruud Ollie. So there could be wholesale position changes. Jackie van der Ende stays in front after the stops from Ruud Ollie and Benjamin van den Berg. Stan van Oord in 4th, René Steenmetz in 5th. And from Steenmetz's viewpoint, look at the way that Stan van Oord gets on with this. Picks up a place from Benjamin van den Berg. Steenmetz tries to get his nose inside. Van den Berg back in front. Battle of the championship leaders in their Seats. René Steenmetz on the outside. Stan van Oord right behind him. Just checks there's enough racing room. There is. And he cuts off Steenmetz at the pass. Change for the lead. Ruud Ollie outpacing Jackie van der Ende. Van der Ende, one of a pair of highly experienced brothers, raced all the way up through junior single-seaters and now enjoying life in the Supercar Challenge. Close battle between the BMW and the Cupra, and a little further back another BMW Cupra battle. Stan van Oord getting a run on Benjamin van den Berg. Looking for 3rd place, can't get through. Around the outside into Tarzan works just as well as the inside. As long as the BMW doesn't drift out too wide, Van Oord can stay there, loses a bit of traction on the gravel. Steenmetz is on the other side of Benjamin van den Berg, and he goes through into 3rd place. Fantastic action, all arms and elbows between the title leaders. Stan van Oord now having to work again to try and pick up a place. He's lost one rather than gained one, and he's still behind the same car. Benjamin van den Berg in the BMW again, drifting out a little wide. Stan van Oord looking for a way through here. This is a big pass, and through he goes. Battle for second, heading down to Tarzan. Jackie van der Ende just ahead of René Steenmetz. Steenmetz on the outside line. Now can he catbuck underneath? No, van der Ende is far too savvy for that. Hangs on to second. But a good exit from the corner from René Steenmetz. He's wheel to wheel with Jackie van der Ende. Gets a little nudge, runs out wide. Lost traction, and through goes Stan van Oord. René Steenmetz just gets the door shut on Benjamin van den Berg, but he's back down to 4th. Battle for second, Jackie van der Ende with the red nose ahead of Stan van Oord in 2:01. And Van Oord gets a good run going. Through he goes, he's up to 2nd place. René Steenmetz now pulling out of the slipstream, down to Tarzan, going the long way around Jackie van der Ende, and through he goes. So he too goes by Van der Ende. Steenmetz though drifts out wide, Van der Ende back alongside. Battle for 3rd place. Steenmetz keeps his nose in front. The man who chases him by 1 point in the championship is ahead, and that is Stan van Oord. Lead battle, closing stages. Ruud Ollie in the BMW. His 4-litre M3 GTR eating its tyres much faster than the Seats. Stan van Oord in 2nd, René Steenmetz in 3rd. Oh, and a mistake by the BMW. Through goes Stan van Oord, and René Steenmetz might try and do so as well. Marcel van der Maat coming up from behind. He's having a look down the inside of Benjamin van den Berg, and he cuts the corner, turning into Tarzan, somehow gets it stopped and squirreled away, and he moves up the order as well. Race win number 2 of the season for Stan van Oord and Dennis de Boerst. René Steenmetz in 3rd, loses 6 points. And that means that de Boerst and van Oord now have a 4-point championship lead after the first of the 2 race weekends. With Ruud Ollie in 2nd place, René Steenmetz in 3rd sees his rivals snatch the championship lead, but there's still another race to go.
Ja, jezus.
What a race.
Super.
We're 5th after pit stops and the safety car. Then had a great battle with Steenmetz, with Ollie. They were really quick. Made a little mistake. I got through. So fantastic result. Dennis did a great job. Excellent. René Steenmetz was just 2/10 behind Ruud Olli in third position. Supersport 2 race ending early for Nicolas Delonc. The Peugeot breaking down before the pit stops. He's out of the race. That's his fourth retirement in 7 starts. Patrick de Vrede and Roger Delot are in a tough battle with BMW rival Remco de Bus, but they claim victory by just half a second, their 5th win of the season. In the Clio, Rob Neiman benefits from chaos in the pit lane. Despite having the most result seconds, he keeps the lead after the pit stops. Henk Teppel and Harold Wesselink's BMW, they hang on to second place. Bart Vandenberg and Chris Vogt gambled wrong on harder tyres, couldn't do better than 3. Bart Drost couldn't attack with a punctured left front tyre. So Vogt and Vandenberg still championship leaders, but Rob Neiman's victory allows him to close the gap to just 7 points. We'll have race 2 for Supersport and Sport after the break, as the championship title rivals have more tough battling on their hands. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Welcome back to Zandvoort for the second race of the weekend in the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook for our Supersport 1 and 2 and Sport Class competitors. On pole position, the fastest in Supersport 1, Cupra driver René Steenmetz, who came here with a 1-point advantage. He's 4 points behind in the series after race 1. Ruud Olli starts on the outside of the front row of the grid with his V8 M3 GTR. Marcel van der Maat with his 3.2 litre M3 starts in third position, while Robert Vandenberg alongside him has another 3.2 litre M3 and he lines up in fourth. After getting caught out by yellow flags in qualifying, Dennis de Borst and Stan van Oord, the series leaders, are only 9th on the grid and they'll hope to make up for that in the race. Another pole for Nicolas Delonc in the Peugeot, but he's not scored in 4 races so far this season. He's a long way behind the Bright Fibre Racing BMW duo that line up in second in Supersport 2. It's a 7th pole for Rob Neiman in the Sport Class, but he's still 7 points behind Chris Vogt and Bart Vandenbroek in their Peugeot. John van der Voort and Sandra van der Slot second in the Sport Class again, but they'll have to hope that the alternator holds together and the Alpha makes it through to the end. They need some points. René Steenmetz leading the field around. Ruud Olli alongside him, then Peter Schroers and Marcel van der Maat in the orange machine, with Dennis de Borst in 9th place, Luc van Loon just in front. But de Borst should be alongside Van Loon. It's a very messy formation lap. How hard is 2x2? Too hard apparently. Away we go then. Not a great start from René Steenmetz. Look at the orange BMW coming down the inside. Marcel van der Maat trying to make a move, but he gets shuffled out. On board with Dennis de Borst. Needs to have a good first turn here. Goes by Jackie van der Ende and Fred Kavanagh in the white BMW. Kavanagh slow off the corner. It's Ruud Olli that leads. Through into second is the Lotus Jan van der Kooi. Third place, the poleman René Steenmetz. Jackie van der Ende. Wheel to wheel with Fred Kavanagh. Still wheel to wheel with Fred Kavanagh in the all-white BMW. Well, there is the view in front. That is Marcel van der Maat in the orange car, and going through on the inside looked like Dennis de Borst had a run. He didn't have enough pace though as they start to climb the hill. Right behind that battle for 5th position, de Borst in front of us, the orange car, Marcel van der Maat in front of him. It's Ruud Olli that leads from the Lotus of Jan van der Kooi, third René Steenmetz. Robert Vandenberg right behind, then the orange car, Marcel van der Maat, then the 2 Seats of Dennis de Borst and Jackie van der Ende. De Borst drifts out a little wide, van der Ende alongside. Now the left-hander, will de Borst stay in front? I think he probably will. Jackie van der Ende needs to go the long way around the outside, can't quite hang on. In the queue behind, the pink and white Roland Delonc leading Supersport 2. There he is, and the orange and yellow of Rob Neiman, the Sport Class leader. Dennis de Borst trying to hustle on as they are at the moment. René Steenmetz looking to take back the championship lead. The points gap is so slender. He's got a good run going here, and he gets inside Marcel van der Maat onto the straight. And van der Maat's power comes back at him, but under braking, the Seat has the inside line and he squeezes through narrowly. René Steenmetz is the next car up the road in front of him. There is René Steenmetz behind Robert van den Berg, and then the Seat with the black and red highlights. Those are the championship leaders. Steenmetz goes through on van den Berg, and that means that Dennis de Borst has to make the pass as well, and he does. He too had a good run. Van den Berg a little offline through the Arie Luijendijk curve, and the Seat on the inside. Van den Berg making a fight of it though. Can he stay there on the outside? No, he can't quite, and that means he's being pushed down to 5th. Sport leader Rob Neiman battling with Henk Teppel. 1.6 turbo in the Renault Clio, 2-litre Subaru engine, normally aspirated in the BMW. Patrick de Freyder out of the race for the Supersport 2 championship leader. He spun, he can't get the car going. It'll be a full course yellow, and the pit stop window is due to open at the same time. Result seconds now play their part. 10 for Ruud Olly, 0 for Max Vels and Jackie van der Ende in the Seat. As a result, they go out nose to tail, and the Seat jumps Ruud Olly at the beginning of the stint. Max Vels unfortunately then drops back down to 4th. René Steenmetz also with 10 seconds. That means he's on the same par with Ruud Olly, but with 0 seconds, the Van den Berg brothers come out in front. 30 seconds is the maximum. Dennis de Borst and Stan van Oord have that, so they are not in the front-running battle in the second half of the race. This is the battle then. Benjamin van den Berg ahead of Ruud Olly by inches, with René Steenmetz right there until contact between the BMWs. Steenmetz tries to thread his way through, can't. Max fails. He gets an advantage, but René Steenmetz fights back on the inside out of Hugenholtz, and through he goes up into 2nd place, chasing the new leader Ruud Olly. That again as Ruud Olly lunges Benjamin van den Berg. The door's a little open, and it wasn't the neatest pass, was it? Safety car is out, not because of Van den Berg, he got back on track immediately, but because of Roland de Waard, the Lotus with no brakes, straight off at Tarzan, and makes it almost all the way to the tyre barriers. It takes a while to recover the Lotus from that far into the gravel trap. And then it is a massed restart for the final few laps. Ruud Olly ahead of René Steenmetz, but Steenmetz with the inside line. Max Vels trying to take advantage here as well. Ruud Olly a little wide out, but he's got the power to hold off the Seat. However, out front is René Steenmetz. 3rd, Max Vels. 4th, Peter van Solen, who's sharing with Fred Kavanagh in this one. And Stan van Oord trying to make his way through the field. They were 9th at the restart. And the points leaders in Supersport 1 with a lot of work to do and not much time in which to do it. René Steenmetz leads. 8th place for Stan van Oord, the points leader. And he is stuck behind Benjamin van den Berg and the blue car of Loek van Loon. The Audi in front of them. It's very busy down there in the middle of the pack. Van Loon with Van den Berg having a lunge. Stan van Oord, is he going to take advantage? Trying to go through for 7th, wheel to wheel. Gets over the curbs, avoids contact. That's 1 place further up. René Steenmetz pulling away from Ruud Olly, then Max Vels, Peter van Solen. And here's the battle for 8th. Benjamin van den Berg just in front of us as we ride with Peter Schroyers. In front of them, Stan van Oord trying to get by Loek van Loon. And Schroyers trying to go the long way around the outside. That didn't really work. He's got a good run here off the corner though. So too has Van den Berg. Hits the limiter, can't go through. Great battle shaping up here. Try through for Ruud Olly for that rude assault on Benjamin van den Berg that knocked the BMW off. René Steenmetz a long way in front of Max Vels and Peter van Solen. Ted van Vliet in 4th. And we are with Stan van Oord attacking Loek van Loon. This is the battle for 6th position behind the Audi of Floris Dulaert. Squeezes through and down into Hugenholz. He is up to 6th position. He's soon past the Audi for 5th. And the Audi now with Peter Schroyers having got by the BMWs behind. Looking down the inside, Floris Dulaert closes the door in the RS3 LMS. Another TCR spec car. And the BMW will have to try another time. Onto the straight they come. René Steenmetz cantering away in front. Peter Schroyers trying to use the speed of the M3 GTR, but the Audi is fleet of foot as well. The Audi with the inside line. But the BMW makes its way through. Now on the heels of Stan van Oord. And the Audi sinks to the bottom of the table. Floris Dulaert and Dylan Costa are out of the race with mechanical problems. There's a dramatic finish to the race. From 9th after the pit stops, Stan van Oord brings the Cupra onto the heels and Max Fails for 2nd and dives to get by him. René Steenmetz is the race leader. The points gap now negligible. And then, huge drama. Problem for Benjamin Vandenberg, the car in limp home mode in the Aaron Leyendijk corner, brings out the yellow flags on the last lap. René Steenmetz had gone by Rob Neiman under yellows, gives the place back to the Clio, but it's green now so he can accelerate, and just in time, because here comes Stan van Oord. The gap 0.3 of a second. Steenmetz victorious over Stan van Oord and Dennis de Borst. What a crazy finish.
Nou, ik zal je vertellen.
I'll tell you what happened.
In de laatste bocht.
Final turn of the race, and they're double waved yellows. At first I thought they were waving flags because I was going to win, but it turned out because Benjamin Vandenberg was in a really dangerous position on the track. So then I had to decide what to do, and I'd overtaken somebody, so I slowed down, let him go by, but then I had to really drill the throttle to stay in front of my big friend here. Quite nerve-wracking, but good for telly. René Steenmetz again winning race 2 in Zandvoort, as he did in the Jumbo race days. That was another crazy finish. The gap here 0.297, the gap then 0.028. The championship's top 3 all on the podium. So René Steenmetz and his friends Stan van Oord and Dennis de Borst are again 1 point ahead. This time de Borst and van Oord have the advantage. Marcel van der Maat, Peter Schroyers in 3rd place ahead of the Vandenbergs. In Supersport 2, finally it's a win for Nicolas Delonc after yet another DNF in race 1. Remco de Bois with the BMW again in 2nd. Is it a turning point then for Nicolas Delonc? Well, he's going to need an awful lot of good luck on his side. He's 62 points behind the series leaders. Sport Class Championship leaders Chris Furt and Bart van der Broek had a 7-point advantage starting race 2, but not a great deal of luck. They gambled wrongly with the safety car situation, and after the pit stops found themselves a lap down in 5th position. John van der Voort and Sander van der Sloot were in 4th position, but Rob Neiman again leading the race after the pit stops despite maximum result seconds, again having the silhouette on his tail for most of the race until Tappel and Vesseling got a drive-through for mistiming their pit stop and dropped back to 3rd. Bart Drost in again with a left front puncture. The team in a hurry to get him back out, already losing 2nd place to the silhouette, but then an unsafe release. Rob Neiman, drama-free, continues to win the race. Harold Vesseling and Henk Tappel taking 2nd despite their drive-through. Bart Drost in 3rd after his. The race was all about strategy, calculation and a slice of good luck. We benefited from the safety car. We judged the pit stop well. We had a lot of room for errors and didn't have to push too hard. Took good care of the tyres after that and claimed a 2nd win this weekend. Neiman had lost the Sport Class lead after the previous race weekend at Zolder, but he's back ahead of the Peugeot duo, even if it is only by 3 points. It's a tight old battle in the Sport Class. But for now, time to enjoy the podium celebrations. Next time out will be at Assen for the Gamma Race Days in the middle of August. Join us then when the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook combines the GTs and touring cars once more. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com and Magla, Create your own digital magazine.